Hello, welcome back. Just let me get... No, that's my chair, Milo. Come on, get... You do this all the time. Go on, sit there. It's a nice sofa. Go and sit on that. Hello, welcome back. Right, as you can see, Exolon from Hewson Consultants in 1987, a Rafael Checo game. Running order is going to be Commodore 64, then the Amstrad, then the ZX Spectrum. Now, in these kind of comparison videos that I've been doing in the past, I've tended to put the Spectrum version later in because those were the versions I was always familiar with, if I'd played the game, that is. And obviously I've done it again for this one, but I'm just interested, do you want me to mix the order up in future videos, etc.? By all means, let me know. Now, Exolon is a game I had way back in the day on the Spectrum. Where is he? And I did enjoy it. Raf Checo, I did a video of his games about 3 years ago, ZX Spectrum Legends series that I started doing, but I only ever did 3 episodes of that. Joffa Smith, Don Priestley and Raphael. Should really sort of like revisit it at some point because there are lots more people. There's Steve Turner, Mike Singleton, others as well whose names escape me now that I'm trying to think of them. So if you'd like to see that sort of like return, then again sort of let me know. Right, Exolon, if you don't know it, it's just a simple side run and gun, side scrolling, it's not scrolling is it, it's flick screen, run and gun game, and it's one that I had back in the day on the Spectrum and I did enjoy it. I always found his more well regarded games, the Cybernoids, the Stormlord games, really quite difficult, very difficult to get into, but Exolon was slightly easier for me and I did enjoy it, and it's one that I come back to every now and then, not massively often, but every now and then. So the purpose of this is just to see what the different versions are like, how they compare to each other, what their strengths, what their weaknesses are, and to hang a conversation off of that, particularly surrounding your memories of this game. On whatever system you may have owned it on, or if you have never played it before. Is there anything I've shown you that makes you want to, really, basically? Right, enough waffle, let's get into it. Commodore 64 version first. Okay, so here we are with the Commodore 64 version of Exolon. You can see I've already managed to get on the high score table, and the buttons got stuck a couple of times. Right, as I said, this is by Rafael Checo. The Commodore 64 version is by Nick Jones, as you can see there. It's got the kind of basic Exolon tune, which if you're familiar with either of the other versions, you will recognise. Brilliantly, it's a Commodore 64 game I can define the keys on, which I always like. Now, I've really enjoyed having the C64 in my collection. By Hewson, as I said. Now, Hewson had a really very strong hit game to shit game record, if I recall rightly. They had an awful lot of very highly regarded games released. Dragon Talk, Avalon, Rama, the Cybernoids, the Stormlords, this, Synapse, Nebulous, which was a video that I keep trying to make, but I'm absolutely hopeless at the game. The only Hewson games I think I can recall playing that I've never really enjoyed too much were Pyrocurse on the Spectrum and one called Gunrunner, which was just a bit dull, really. I mean, it wasn't anything particularly wrong with the game other than being a bit dull. Right, so let's get into it. If you're familiar with the game, you'll know what it is. And here we go. It's nice and colourful on the C64. Not an awful lot in the way of sound effects. There's no background music. I've got 100 ammo. I've got 7 grenades now. As you can see, I've got to blast my way past all these obstructions, etc. Why I can't just walk around them, I don't know. But I've always liked the main sort of sprite in the Exolon games, and it bears quite a good resemblance to the Spectrum version on the Commodore 64. Now, I'm hoping the display on this is much better than it has been on my previous Commodore 64 videos. I think you might remember I bought an S-Video lead and a new telly that could take S-Video. Oh! I want those. Ah! These bubbles are always difficult to get past. Well, they're not really, it's just I'm shit at the game. Now, I haven't played this for a while. I'm unfamiliar with the C64 and Amstrad versions other than today. So let's see how Baz gets on. Now, like I said, I did really enjoy this game back in the day because I could get a decent amount of the way into it. I'm not going to be able to do that now, which I couldn't do with the Cybernoid games, as I sort of said. So this for me was kind of like a godsend, really. That wasn't really fair. But my first impressions of the Commodore 64 version are it's a really nice version. You can see some slight sort of blockiness on the background graphics, but nothing that's horrific in any way, shape or form. And it is really nice and colourful, as you can see. So it's really sort of like nicely put together. And if you'd have been a fan of the Spectrum version, but you were a Commodore 64 owner and you bought this, you wouldn't have been unhappy with it, I don't think. Now, like I said, it is, in essence, just basically a pretty sort of straightforward run and gun game. There's nothing... Oh, I was just about to say there's nothing too particularly taxing about it. And then I walked into those great big hammers. Ah! Right. Concentrate, Baz. Yep, and now we can change into the exoskeleton thing, which is always quite cool. Because I've now got double cannons, as you can see. Oh, shit. Now that's going to be me back in my... Oh, no, I thought it was going to put me back in my normal pants. But no, I'm safe. I've only got 2 lives. Oh, I've only got 1 life left now. And I haven't got particularly far in this at all, have I? But it's not bad. It's not bad at all. How long it actually ever holds. Now, there's some kind of weird sort of black strip happening. Oh, dear. Well, there we go. That's... We'll have one more go at that. Some kind of weird sort of artifact going on there, and I don't know what's caused that. Right, we'll have one more go at the Commodore 64 version, and then we'll move on to the Amstrad. Oops. But yeah, like I said, Hewson were known for many sort of great games. Paradroid, Uridium. How could I have forgotten those two off the thing? Quasitron, or is it Quasitron? And I was going to say Magnetron. But when I was looking up on World of Spectrum, it seems that was actually released by Firebird, which I never knew, but I do now. And I've had a look at the sort of oh, come on, right, let's see if we can get a little further on this. Right, okay, see now the detail on the spaceship there is really quite nice. I like it, and you know, there's an awful lot of piss-taking goes on about sort of Commodore 64 graphics and stuff. Oh, they're blocky, oh, they're this, oh, they're that, oh, they're the other. But I've never really sort of minded them, you know. The difference is, you know, the Amstrad has the bright colours, the Spectrum has colour clash, but some really quite sort of like nice definition on its graphics, etc. And I think I've said this before, but back in the day, you could tell what system a game was for just by the way it looked. You can't really do that now with your Xboxes, PCs, and PS4. Everything seems to look the same unless you actually know what it is that you're looking for. And I really like that. It means that everything has its own identity. And of course, you know, C64 games are also renowned for having sort of, in some instances, fantastic soundtracks. Now, it's not always been the case, but oh, fuck it, it's got me again. Not always been the case, but more often than not, yeah, there are some absolutely classic Commodore 64 tunes, as we know. So let's try it. Oh, right up the arse. And all these old computers are all have their place, and they deserve their places. The MSX is a fantastic machine. The BBC Micro is brilliant. They all have their limitations and they all have their strengths, and being able to play them is an honour, really, because you get to see just how clever some people had to be in order to pull things off on particular machines. Right, come on. Right, I'm going to curse myself by saying this. I seem to be doing slightly better this time than I did last time. Oops. Yep, cursed. Just get in there. Oh, there we go. So yeah, you've got to go around and sort of you've got to be careful with your ammo. You only get 99 bullets and 10 grenades that you can sort of replenish, I mean. Oh, right, come on. Oh. Right, so I'm going to have to blast that one from up here, aren't I? Right, at least I've got that out of the way. I've got 3 lives left. But overall, this is not bad at all. Oh, I'm going to land on the landmine. No, I'm not. You cock. Right. I'm kind of in uncharted territory here. I'm not really sure that I've been this far. I haven't played Exolon for a while. And like I said, today is the first time I've ever played the C64 version. But it's playing decently enough. Come on. Now, of course, with this super suit, these gun emplacements aren't a problem because I can fire and destroy both. Oh, this is going to be a massive pain in the arse, isn't it? These little dots. Now I've got to go and get some more ammo. Oh dear, that's it. That's going to be game over. Game over, man. Yeah, really, really worthwhile playing that. Oh, for God's sake. Bazza. There we go. Right, let's go and have a look, see how this fares on the Amstrad. Okay, welcome back. Right, let's see what the Amstrad CPC... Oh, blimey. Let's see what the CPC version has to offer. So we'll just get everything ready. Run Exolon. And we should be into the game in just a few seconds. Again, Amstrad owners, please shout up with your memories. Do I want pokes? Oh, it would be tempting, wouldn't it? But no, I don't. Don't think I do want pokes. No. So, the game should be loading. There we go. We've got a very nice loading screen there. A bit basic, but very nice. Nice and colourful, etc. A few more seconds and we... Oh, bloody hell, knocking the camera a bit. And here we go. Let's just move that down a bit so we get... whilst trying not to make it wonky. Right, so here we go. Let's define our keys. The old faithfuls. O, P, Q, A and space. And then let's play the game. See what it's actually like. Now, the first thing that strikes me about the Amstrad version when I first saw it is how colourful it is. It really is a nice colourful game. And you can see that Mr. Exolon guy seems to have gone into outer space in his pyjamas. But it looks really nice. There's some extra sort of animation, I think. You'll see his backpack kind of wobbles as he's walking along. And I think that's a really cool touch. I think the Amstrad version looks brilliant. Oh. Not that there was anything wrong with the C64 version that we've just seen. But this is really nice and colourful, which we know the Amstrad can do. Is it a little bit blocky? Well, maybe, but, you know, it still looks really nice. And, oh, dear. Come on. But, yeah, it still looks really nice. And I think if you were an Amstrad owner, you'd have been very happy with it. Now, I just love that sort of bounciness in the animation of him. I think that's really good. As you can see, some really good sort of like nice colourful effects everywhere. The The what? What were you going to say, Baz? Right, anyway, let's just carry on, shall we? Right, okay, so we've blasted that into oblivion. We've just got to get rid of these annoying little dots. Oh, I keep on doing this. Now, I've only played the Amstrad version for about 5 or 6 minutes. It's exactly the same gameplay wise as the other ones. There don't seem to be any sort of like Amstrad style nuances or any changes in any of the puzzles, etc. It's just graphical differences, it seems to be. There's nothing wrong with that. But that being the case, then why aren't I as good at it as I was on the C64? And I was crap on the C64 version. So let's get rid of those. Jump over there. It's quite generous, the amount of sort of time it gives you to make that jump there. Get rid of that, and that will stop the homing missile things coming after you. Really is nice and vivid, the colours here. All right, okay, we got him. Oh, fuck, it caught me out on the C64 as well, that one, didn't it? Right. So the Amstrad, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, is, you know, a really great machine. It's got some quirks and some weaknesses as well as its strengths, but, you know, they all have. Oh, right, okay. Now I'm in me double suit, and I think this looks really cool. Although on the Commodore 64 version, it seemed to be a bit more defined, the fact that you were wearing sort of extra protection, if you know what I mean. Ooh, whereas here it just seems to be that he's got a visor on now, and you can see the double sort of cannon thing, but he's still wearing his red and blue pajamas, you know. Oh, ah! Right, so we'll just... Oh, I've done that wrong, and I asked that one right up. But that should have put paid to those homing missiles. Lovely colourful explosions there. Oh dear, right, that was it. That was Exolon for the Amstrad. That was really quite impressive graphically. Exactly the same game, no better, no worse than what was on the Commodore. So let's have a look and see the Spectrum version. Hello, welcome back. Right, here we go. Bringing up the rear, the Spectrum version, the one I'm familiar with. Let's just define our keys. Now, from what I've seen of the Amstrad and Commodore 64 versions, the games are exactly the same. They're just going to be minor graphical differences to look at between them. So let's get into it. Now, as we can see, it's a very nice and colourful game on the Spectrum. Not as colourful as the Amstrad, obviously. The sprite, the main Exolon guy dude, looks exactly the same as he does on the Commodore 64 version. Nice and detailed. You see, he doesn't have his wobbly sort of backpack that he had on the Amstrad version, but that's nothing horrifying. You know, we can live with that. I used to play this game quite a lot back in the day. I think I've already intimated that. And as ever, I'd just like your opinions and memories of the game. Ah, for fuck's sake, of the game. Now, like I've said before, it in hindsight, it's actually a fairly simple sideways, left to right, run and gun, or run and rocket, depending on how long you press your fire button down for. So, having seen what you've seen of all three versions, what do you think of them all? How do they all compare to each other? I think playability-wise, they're all exactly the same. One version is not better than another version. And it's all just graphical nuances and quirks. And obviously, the Spectrum 128K version I've got here has got some AY sound effects. I certainly think the Spectrum graphics are a little clearer than the other versions. Right. Oh, fuck. I keep on getting caught out by those bits. Right. There we go. Oh. No. So here we go into our super suit. Oops. Again, always got to be careful of ammo. And there we go, we've replenished. Oh, for Pete's sake. Right, not going to play this too much longer because you can see the game is absolutely identical on all the versions that I'm showing you. Come on, come on. Yeah, we'll have some of that. Oops. And that's game over. And there we go. Let's go to the outro. Okay. There we go. That was Exolon for the Commodore 64, Amstrad and Spectrum. So, as ever, interested to see and hear what your thoughts and opinions and all the differences and similarities between the three are, and your memories of the game if it's one you ever played before. Now, I'm aware it also came out on, I think, the Amiga and ST, but I don't have either of those machines. So if you are familiar with the game on either of those, then again, please shout out what it was like. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a fairly simple game to do. I didn't get very far in it, but when do I ever? If you like the video, please let me know. If you wish to subscribe, please do so. But if you do subscribe, as ever, please take the time to join in the conversation, because that's what it's all about. Thank you ever so much for watching. Take care. Goodbye.